All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome to Friday's market wrap up here at Top Gun Options. My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wisdom. What a wild week it was. And look at the market, man. All clear as sounded. Get bullish. Load the boat up. Things are fantastic. I'm joking. That is the exact opposite of everything that's going on here. The S&P crossed record highs on what? I mean, Amazon. Big miss. Huge miss. We got some better earnings than Amazon? Come on, folks. Here we go. I'm going to break this down. So let's start strategically. Mike Pence yesterday was way too limp-wristed in his China speech. It was awful. Okay, he kissed China's ass while turning around and smacking around LeBron, Nike, and the NBA. Seriously? Not slamming on China and human rights and everything like that. Thought you were going to endear yourself to him? Beijing today, your slandering, arrogant speech. Look in the mirror. Get your racist house in order. Pence, you missed the last time he gave this China speech, it was a flamethrower, and it was epic. Today, he's yelling at his own kids instead of yelling at the neighbor who's mean. Swing and a miss, Mr. Vice President. I don't care what you need to do to get a deal done. You could have. It was a 50-50 speech. 50% you could have slammed the NBA. The other half you could have slammed China, and you didn't. So if you're trying to get a deal with your boss, you look stupid. It's Friday. That means Hong Kong protests are getting ready to rage again, despite new efforts to calm unrest. What did CEO Lam do last week? She said we're going to throw a bunch of money at low-income housing, and she threw a bunch of bullshit stuff out there to try and calm the protests. The extradition bill was formally withdrawn. It's been suspended, right, which they thought would calm the unrest. And, of course, the protesters ain't no dummies. They're like, no, you need to kill that thing. So they finally killed it. All this stuff is setting up Xi to really, really crack down. He can do the whole, hey, we pulled the damn extradition thing. We laid out a bunch of social programs to, help you be better. And it's not going to work. None of this is going to work, folks. So this is, wow, look at that. Protester throws a Molotov cocktail inside the Bank of China branch. Whoa. So this is going to get worse. You guys know I've reported that the People's Liberation Army up in Shenzhen, kind of all staged there with all their vehicles, and they've been practicing riot control and everything like that. Those aren't going to go in Tiananmen Square style. That would be the worst case scenario. What's going to happen is the PLA guys are kind of dressed up like protesters, and they're going in there and cracking heads. So he's trying to do this the subtle way, right? They're doing it on social media. They're doing it with dudes dressed like protesters. So this is getting uglier. And again, Mike Pence, swing and a miss. I love the fact that you yelled at the NBA and Nike and all those type of folks, but this is where you need to direct your fire. FXI. So we have an FXI trade expiring today that is at max profit. Look at this thing. We're up 92% on our FXI trade right now. I'd close that and take profits. It's the 42 and a half bear call spread. We're down here at 41.49. The FXI, ladies and gentlemen, has been hovering. Why has it been hovering? You know why it's been hovering, if you're a member, because I briefed you about 2 weeks ago why the FXI is hovering. Take a look at the FXI. It usually doesn't hover, man. This is bad news on trade, maybe good news, bad news, nothing for a while. Hey, whoa. Look at the volatility in the FXI. For the past week and a half-ish, we've hovered. And not necessarily, and there's been some bad news while it's been hovering. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why you're Top Gun Options, folks. I got a huge Rolodex of people, Pentagon, command staffs, overseas. I got a huge Rolodex of people in London, Chicago, New York, and Hong Kong. Spoke in Japan, China, in Macau, and in Hong Kong to Macquarie. I got a lot of buddies. The invisible hand of the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, has been doing what? I told you before these headlines came out. You learn it here first, folks. China just injected the most liquidity since January, and it's not going to be enough. So they've done this before, folks. Anytime we see some calmness over in their markets when it shouldn't be calm, that's the invisible hand of the PBOC injecting liquidity. And the past couple times they've done this, it didn't end well. The FXI shouldn't be up here. Now I'm going to brief you on some relatively good news on trade, but it's not to be believed. Okay. U.S. China, the U.S. and China are close to finalizing some sections of a trade deal, U.S. trade rep says. What's the date on this one? Oh, 2 hours ago. This could have been 20 months ago. This could have been 16 months ago. This could have been 12 months ago. This could have been 3. This could have been last month. The same headline, ladies and gentlemen. And I know exactly what's going on. Negotiations aren't going well. Donald Trump doesn't like reading on CNBC that, the 14th round of trade talks failed. As a negotiator, you don't like seeing, hey, we're coming up to round 15. So what do? You erase the whiteboard and you put up phase 1. China's still laughing at us. They're like, what, phase 1, 2, 3? I don't even know what that means, but anything we sign is contingent on you removing all the sanctions, and maybe we'll buy a couple, soybeans. Hey, folks, don't believe any of this. This has been going on for 15 times. That we've agreed to finalizing parts. They've made significant headway. Discussions will continuously go on and have another call in the near future. Yawn. Asked about China on Friday, Trump said we're doing very well. How many times has that dude walked out to Marine One saying stupendous deal? How about the times he walked out to the helicopter saying, hey, I just talked to Xi, we're going to have a great deal, and the market would be up 500 points. Tremendous deal for the farmers. Mr. President, this is a lie. They're not doing anything. As a matter of fact, last week, who did Beijing buy a shit pot of soybeans from? Brazil. Folks, it's all crap. It's all stupid. So the market being up here right now on good news over China trade is stupid. And when the market is up for stupid reasons, as I describe them, it usually doesn't stay up there, and it's not. S&P 500 flirts with record levels. Why? Thought Amazon had horrific earnings. Oh, well, good news on trade? This is the same headline we've seen on trade for ages. So I'm not, if I just showed you a chart of the FXI hovering, folks, for the past week and a half, we've been hovering too. Why have we been hovering? The invisible hand of our PBOC, known as the Fed. The Fed's been doing the same thing the PBOC is doing. Fed boosts the amount of liquidity offered to the financial system. Huh? So we're kind of right now, ladies and gentlemen, doing unofficial QE, quantitative easing. So the same thing that China's doing, we're doing. We're a little bit open about it. Remember, the PBOC, unlike a year ago, they used to announce, hey, we're injecting liquidity to blah, blah. They don't say a word now. Why? If the PBOC let it be known that they're injecting liquidity to pump up the markets, Donald Trump, his phone would be on fire. He would be texting and tweeting about how, look at China, their economy's so bad, the PBOC needs to get in there and prop it up. What are you doing, dude? Trump, the Fed meeting's next week. We haven't even had the Fed meeting yet, and the president's prepping the battlefield. The Federal Reserve is derelict in its duties. I'm a military guy. Using those words is horrific if it doesn't lower a rate and even ideally stimulate. So let me get this straight. You want the Fed to cut even more, rates to zero, or negative rates, and do some QE, which is kind of what they're doing. So the odds of an October rate cut are like 90-ish%. I'm telling you, man, I'm a 50-50. Two of the biggest doves, the Chicago Fed and Dallas Fed chiefs last week said what? They supported both of these previous cuts. Last week, they said, we're good for the year. We don't need to cut. So I do my own reporting, folks. I do my own intelligence gathering. Two folks who said yay for cuts before say we don't need them. I don't think we need them. I think they should be raising interest rates, not to stick it to the president, but to do their job. Goldman came out this week and said what? They're going to make two big changes. They are going to cut. I don't know. Goldman has been wrong about Fed meetings, folks. There's been a couple epic wrongs out of Goldman. Here's what the Fed's going to do. Wrong. I'm like, did that guy get fired? They're saying they're also going to say that this is the end of mid-cycle adjustments. Remember these past two? This one was this is simply a mid-cycle adjustment, meaning one and done. Okay. This one, they cut. I'm like, why are you cutting? Well, this time they cut. They actually said, or they didn't say, but with their words, it was a hawkish cut, meaning we're really super done. So not done, not done. This time is going to be, we're serious this time that we're done. In addition, the central bank could remove the language stating it will act as appropriate to sustain the expansion. Those words right there, ladies and gentlemen, have been manna from the heavens for the market, right? Meaning the Fed is going to kiss our boo-boo, put a Band-Aid on it, and tell us to go play. These will both be bearish for the market. So we are setting ourselves up, in my opinion, for a little bit of a failure next week. Buy on the rumor. I told you, I predicted both. Look at this left side of the chart. I've nailed both of these. Run up into the Fed meeting, I said it's going to sell on the news. Boom. And August happened. Buy on the rumor of an interest rate cut out of the Fed, sell on the news. We printed money based on both these calls. Buy on the rumor, buy on the news. We're going to buy on the news that the Fed's dropping accommodative language. The last Fed meeting, folks, I haven't seen that many dissensions or that much, people at other ends of the table than this one. 17 people. 10 of them dissented last time. Now, 2 were for bullish, but the rest were saying we don't need cuts. So how many of you are getting bullish up here? First of all, if the Fed doesn't cut, implosion. If the Fed does cut and says we're done, pullback. So us being up right here, folks, this is a little bit of a short squeeze, to be honest with you. Okay. Amazon. Now let's get into this. This is fantastic. Thank God Amazon did this, because this gives me time to explain Amazon. This lady, look at this, only down to, this is a screaming buy. My phone blew up yesterday after earnings. Like, oh my God, it's down $110 after hours. I'm like, I don't care. Do you know why it's down $110? First of all, it's the algos. Algos read numbers, ladies and gentlemen. In their system, it said what? Forecast of 21.1 billion, revenue, blah, blah. When they came out, literally without those numbers, less. This isn't rocket surgery, folks. Computers trade. It was less. Sell. Get bearish. And then once humans get involved, like me, you actually read and listen to what's going on. These were fantastic earnings. The numbers were misses, but pay attention to why they missed. Amazon's investment mode extends, right? The tech giant's record spending may still result in slower growth. Have you not listened to a word the CEO says? Listen to this is ridiculous, folks. Jeff Bezos does not want to see a penny in profit. If the CFO walks into his office and says, hey, we made a penny, he's going to fire the dude. Why didn't you take that penny and do something with it? Buy, optimize, and do something that's going to grow our business. Folks, you need to use your brain here. Investors were bracing for some bad news because they were taking a lot of money and reinvesting in what? That one-day delivery. Buried deep into this article is my point. Amazon admittedly has a long history of successful investing for growth. Listen up, folks. They missed top-line numbers to reinvest it in getting better. Amazon is spending record sums to get there, folks. This is a fast follower company. This is ridiculous. And you know what was an amazing bright spot? Advertising business. Ladies and gentlemen, AWS, Amazon Web Services, years ago was like just a little, it was a line on a spreadsheet. Now it is absolutely its own little Death Star. Guess what advertising is, ladies and gentlemen? The same thing. Remember last quarter's Google earnings? They came out and there was a big miss. Their advertising business is starting to erode. Why? Amazon. Now, Google wouldn't name them in their earnings call about why it was softening. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Many analysts pointed to Amazon's ad performance as a high point in earnings, with JP Morgan singling out its reacceleration and saying the company has solidified itself in the number 3 ad position behind Google and Facebook. Such a huge opportunity ahead. Wow. What does Amazon do, folks? It fast follows, just like in NASCAR. They're an inch behind people, and then they sling around them. Anybody, you could cut and paste FedEx and UPS in here. Amazon Air will be bigger than both of them in a couple years. Their advertising business is going to destroy Google and Facebook. I absolutely love this part. I've been trading Amazon for years. I remember AWS coming out. I'm like, whatever. That's a waste of money. Wrong. their ad business. What about their entertainment business, folks? A couple weeks ago, the Emmys. They like swept the comedy category. You name the business, they're doing fantastic in it, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a screaming buy down here. Period. Last week in our solo Amazon, or this week on our solo Amazon service, I got filled on synthetic stock at like what, 1780. We're only down here at 1750, folks. It was down $120 after hours, Wiz. I'm like, that's after hours trading, folks. That ain't reality. People like me sat down last night, read everything, and went, wow, that's actually pretty ballsy, and that's great for Amazon's future. Use this pullback, get into it. If you are into it, buy more here. This is a screaming buy. Whenever you can get Amazon on a little bit of a discount, you buy. This was a stupid move based on algos, but if you use your brain and you get in here and read things about why they missed and they're spending money, you got to look at your screen and go, oh my God, I'm going to just sneak over here and get long Amazon as it's down. That's exactly what you do. So for the solo Amazon folks who didn't want to put it on as I'm going to wait until after earnings, you got what you wanted. Me, I don't care. It's down $30 from where I got my synthetic stock on Monday. Yawn. When this is a $3,000 stock in a couple years, like I'm going to care that I could have gotten it at $17.50 instead of $17.80? God, no. We'll both be lighting $100 bills to smoke our cigars. Screaming buy. Loved Amazon earnings. I get it missed on some Wall Street forecast. Jeff Bezos could give two shits about whether they meet, beat, exceeded, whatever the street's expectations are. The CFO did the damn call. Jeff Bezos doesn't even do this stuff. Why? He's out building rockets to go to Pluto. So screaming buy on Amazon here. So good week. The only miss this week was on volatility, a bullish volatility trade. But it wasn't a trade. What was it? It was called a hedge. We're going on what, 9, 10 days of low volatility. Look at the VIX, folks. It does not do extended days of low volatility without a freakout coming. Look at this. Even as volatility declined from the Christmas Mnuchin slaughter, on the way down, we'd have spikes. We don't see calmness, right? Even this was implosion, spike. Really, there's nothing around here that shows 10 days. Does everybody think everything's fine? Folks, we got a Fed meeting coming up on Wednesday, right? The two Fed chiefs, the two dovish Fed chiefs from last time, the Chicago Fed head and Dallas Fed head, who both supported cuts, said last week they don't think we need to cut. The last Fed meeting was some of the biggest dissenters, and we're setting ourselves up for failure here, folks. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Buy the rumor, sell the news. I'm telling you, this little short squeeze pop to Dow 175 and us briefly over the S&P record level, we did it here, here, and we're doing it here. And we got another Fed meeting coming up. Could not be more bearish or volatile, folks. I would not be getting long going into this Fed meeting. They are going to let us down. Okay, and we still have what? Weeks, just inside of a month before Trump meets Xi. And the last time, let me wrap up on this. The last time Xi and Trump met down in Latin America, down in Buenos Aires, Xi promised to do a bunch of stuff. He didn't do any of it. So it's stupid. The trade stuff's stupid. I'm not even going to believe it when I see them signing something. The Chinese aren't going to do anything they agree to do, period. Okay, guys, I got to run. What a great week. Only miss was volatility. I don't look at that as a miss because it was in my ejection seat. I never climbed out of my F-18 and looked at the seat and said, well, you were stupid. That was dumb to have you. I would have rather had the 800 pounds of extra gas. Then I would have punched myself in the face because that's stupid, right? The one time you don't hedge, the one time you don't fly with your ejection seat, that's when you get shot down. So it's just stupid. The trade made sense. If you look at that on your screen as losing money, then you shouldn't put it on. That's not the mentality you have to have here. So our one-day S&P 500, it's 2 days. So we placed a bear call spread on SPX on Monday, and it closed Wednesday afternoon for max profit. That was a good $1,700 2.5-day trade. And we have a couple FXIs and some other stuff that are expiring good. We got long UTX this week after earnings, and that thing's going higher. Couldn't be happier with our positions. Having another epic month here at Top Gun Options. It's going to be a very, very good month here at Top Gun Options. Okay, I got to get going. Have a great rest of your day. Have a good weekend. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and I'll be back for Monday's Market Outlook.